Hey everyone, welcome to Geek-Ass Chat. I am Shirley.
Hey people, I'm Christy.
And we are here to review Umbrella Academy, Season 2.
Oh yeah.
Just want to throw out that Spanish right there.
Spanish.
Yes, it came out on Netflix about like a week ago, I think. A couple of days ago, maybe. I don't know when. But a couple of days ago, I think. And this is Season 2. Season 1 came out in 2019. And of course, well, let's give a recap of what happened, because this is a time travel type of show. Like, one of the characters time travels. If you know what happened in Season 1, sorry, this is a spoiler if you haven't seen Season 1. The ending is that an apocalypse happened because Vanya, who's played by Ellen Page, hits the moon, and basically the siblings are like, alright, we gotta go. And Five, who is the time traveling one of the group, that's his power. And the actor's name is Adrian Gallinger. Yes. And so basically he's like, alright, let's leave, let's time travel. And they, grab hands and they time travel. And the synopsis is, for Season 2, it starts off with them getting away from the apocalypse, time traveling to different times in 1960s Dallas. So basically, Five, the siblings enter all these like different, like 1960, 1961, 1962, 3, and all that stuff. And then Five gets to 1963, I think November, let me look at it. I think it's November 25th. And so basically, yeah, November 25th, 1963, and he finds his siblings fighting the Soviets, who are coming there to fight United States and like to take over. And of course they have the nukes, and they're flying nukes and everything to hit basically America. So yeah, and then Hazel comes in and he takes basically Five away, and they transport to Dallas, but 10 days earlier. And Hazel tells him like, yo, what's up? Like, Five is like, what's going on? Hazel's like, there's an apocalypse, your siblings and you have to stop it. And so they have 10 days to stop it. And so he goes around basically trying to look for his siblings who ended up in the early 1960s, different years in Dallas. So basically, and then it shows you like where all the siblings are at. So let me look it up, because it was a lot, and there's a lot of siblings. So Luther is like, he's a boxer, or like and he's a bodyguard for a mafia, and so he boxes too, to like make money, to give money to the mafia person, because the mafia person has people betting on him to win. So that's what Luther's doing. Diego's stuck in the mental institute because he knows about JFK, who's about to get assassinated. He wants to stop it because, everybody's telling him he has a hero complex. And, he just wants to do good, but also, deep-seated feelings of trying to, I guess, show his father, who was a jack. His father was awful. Let me just say that. That he is, they are heroes. He is a hero and all that stuff. So, and that's why they put him in the mental institute, because, or mental asylum, because they're like, what? Who's gonna kill JFK? But because he's from the future, they're like, crazy or something. So, anyways, Allison was the one that was scary, because again, she's a black woman and she's going to early 1960s Dallas in the South, and and she arrives there, and of course, immediately 3 white men are trying to attack her. And my favorite part of the series is how when she goes into the barber, I think into the shop with cutting hair and stuff. She goes in there, and it's owned by a black woman, and it's run, working, black women are in there working as well, cutting hair. And they stop the 3 black men and with like instruments from like doing their hair, and they stop them from attacking Allison and stuff. And
that was
of
a
course,
good scene.
Yeah, that was a really good scene. I love that scene. And so it's really scary for her. And she, of course, is a civil rights activist with her husband, Raymond Chestnut. And so that's what they're doing. And then Klaus, of course, started a cult.
We can expect no less from Klaus.
Exactly, as Klaus does. And so, and Ben, the cutest one. Ben, of course, sadly he's dead. But Klaus, since one of his powers is to talk to the dead, he has to see all the mistakes and suffer through all the mistakes Klaus does. And also Ben also has this crush on Jill, who's one of the followers of Klaus's cult, I guess. And then there's Vanya, who basically she lands. And she wakes up, of course, and she lands in the alleyway. That's where they're all landing. And then she gets hit. She walks to the road, and then she gets hit by a car by a woman and her son in the backseat. And so she's basically living with amnesia, not knowing who she is, and living with this married couple and their child on the farm. And so I think that's basically it, right?
Well, yeah. That's
like that's the synopsis of
synopsis, or like kind of a breakdown for the show.
Yeah.
I mean, is there anything you wanted else to say? Because I want to jump in with some stuff if you.
Oh yes, I just wanted to name off the actors' names because I was naming off the siblings and I didn't name them off. Like
go for it.
Tom Hopper is played Luther, number 1, and then David Castaneda, Diego's number 2, Amy Raver, my bad. Lampman is she's number 3, I think. Yes, and then Robert Sheehan is number 4, and then Justin H. Mean is Ben, who's number 6. And then there's a new character who I really like, and you're gonna meet who's connected to Diego. She's stuck in the mental asylum. Is Rita Aria Lily, I think. Lila, my bad. And then there's there's also the handler. She's from season 1. She was, I think, one of the heads of the commission as well. The group that keeps the timeline in check. Kate Walsh, and I liked her as kind of like the villain in a sense. I think she is the villain, right?
Yeah.
I think she would be considered the villain.
She is the villain.
Yeah, she is the villain. So yeah, what do you want to talk about the show? Because it's timey-wimey stuff. And with timey-wimey stuff, it is really hard to understand and to be like, whoa, what's going on?
Well, I am definitely going to go into a tidbit of what the time traveling stuff is. But before I head into that, because I actually love that type of stuff, I want to talk about the things that you can expect from what Shirley already said. They're in the 1960s. What I love about this season is that Ben has more of a character in the show, and you can see a development in his character as well. That's cool.
Oh,
you see Vanya more in as far as her powers and what kind of power she has, so that's pretty cool. And then Lila, who is with Diego in the institution.
She's mysterious, and you figure out who she is.
She's very mysterious. She's very, I think she's also very quirky in a sense, and just teaming her up with Diego in a way that they did throughout the movie.
And she's going through a lot and a lot of pain.
Yeah,
you find out what she's going through.
So their relationship is very interesting, Diego and Lila. So that's really fun to watch. And then you see the dad here. I think more so than you did in the first season, right? I mean, I feel like you kind of did, but you really didn't. But you see a little bit more into his mysterious side
and who he is, because this is the past. Because also he the main mysteries of season 1 and why they came together was because of the dad's death.
Yeah, so they came back together, and the show is just a bunch of misfits who have powers.
Siblings who always argue.
And I love this because I looked into Gerald Wade, the dude from Chemical Romance.
Yes! It's based on a comic book. It's based
on a comic book by Gerard Wade.
And Gabriel Bay.
And Gabriel Ba.
Thank you.
And he said that a lot of each of the characters has a tidbit of who he is and who his band members was, because he felt like his band was like a dysfunctional family. So you definitely see that in this show. Like, they're all hating on each other, but then they're all loving each other.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So it's the dynamic between them and their relationship as family is really cool, and you see it more in this show.
Chemical Romance is the best.
Chemical Romance is the best. We're gonna link a link to one of their videos down below,
Oh, yes,
because you
should.
gotta know
I gotta
who they
choose
are.
it. I think probably
Awesome,
Hello.
totally awesome.
They're awesome.
Yeah, I
get
felt
it.
like there was a lot more music in this season too.
Yeah, there was a
kind
lot
of
more
like
music.
really like edgy but cool. Like, it kind of like at first you.
Like quirky in the sense of like it had its own personality.
Yeah,
with the
in
show
the
and
show,
its
yeah.
personality.
And so it kind of like, at first you're like, oh my god, jarring, but then it's like, oh, this works with the scene, right? Cause
But they also had Backstreet Boys.
they had Backstreet Boys, they had everything. Klaus was like,
Klaus with
throughout
the
his whole
lyrics.
Klaus cult experience,
He was giving out lyrics.
he was giving out lyrics to songs as in like inspiration to his cult leaders. Like, he
That's
called
so
his cult like Destiny's Children, as in Destiny's Child.
That was actually funny. That was a good one.
The
I
group
didn't.
thing consists of Beyonce back in the day. But anyway, so Klaus is his
Kelly
typical
Rowland.
self, which totally works for this new season. I love him even more in this show, in this season. So awesome to Klaus. And Ben was also one of my favorites. And it was really nice to see Vanya really develop as well, and the relationship she had with Sissy, Sissy
Right.
who has the farm, who took her in when she lost her memory. So
That was a
those
good,
little
nice romantic relationship.
yeah, I really like that, because you don't really see that.
And what Sissy's going through.
Yeah, so it's
back
something.
in the day, a woman, being
Yeah.
married to people
Yeah,
they don't
'cause
want to be married to, and
I
all
know.
that stuff.
So you see it like woman
And not
issues.
having agency and stuff.
Yeah, in a relationship, and not being able to just
Women
be who you are.
Yeah.
And then also,
Allison was the one
Allison.
that had more to do, and I was happy about
yeah,
that.
Allison
Again,
had more to do.
she was the one that I was really scared for what she was gonna go through, and
yeah, so you kind
and she went through a lot of scary, of course, stuff, with like the racism and her being a civil rights activist, and her husband and Raymond, and how and their relationship, which was sweet, and how they met, and and how the woman who owned the shop, they do the hairs, and she gave her a job and everything. I thought that was very sweet as well. And using her powers and her fighting skills, like, you kind of forget that they're all like, they know how to fight, right?
Yeah,
like,
they all have
like, they
special
were
powers.
the Umbrella Academy. They were a superhero group, and you kind of forget that now. Like, that's what they
Yeah.
used to be. And so
and
it was cool seeing her have a fight agency as well.
Yeah. And I love the fact that the show kind of resembles other comic books. Like, you get this feeling of X-Men, and X-Men is one of my favorite shows, right?
Oh,
Them being in an
right.
academy. And this is what
Right,
Gerard
like X-Men,
Way said,
yeah.
that he was inspired by so many comic books, X-Men being one of them,
Right.
which makes sense.
And X-Men had a lot of social and political commentary.
Yeah, and this
You
show
know.
does too. And it was important for the cast to be very diverse, and that's what I love about it as well.
The aesthetic of it, the 1960s. I don't know what it is about the 1960s aesthetic, but it's like really
Charming.
charming
don't know.
but nice. I don't know what it is.
I really like it. The sets, everything was
Yeah,
really nice.
like that you
Looks
said
so
the
authentic.
sets. Yeah,
Well,
it looked
at least from-
authentic and.
Yeah. Images we see in history books.
And it was like there were some wonky spots of CGI, but it wasn't like that bad.
No.
And considering the budget of a television show and all that stuff, it was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
The CGI and the sets and everything.
What-
Yeah, like the costuming. I think the costuming always like reflects their personalities as well. I love the hairstyle of Allison and how she had it, and Vanya had her own, like, with the shirts and the pants, cool but like comfortable style.
Yeah.
And then Klaus, he has the
Very
the
spiritual.
flowing, like,
Clothes.
free type of like
Yeah.
clothes. Those clothes kind of represent their personalities in the
Yeah.
set. I feel bad for Ben. Ben had like cool clothing, like regular, like the leather jacket, which is nice, but like that must be hot in the heat.
Yeah. The film. We were thinting about like that actor filming.
Oh yeah, the actor. Like that must have been hot for the actor, for Justin.
Like, we were feeling for him. Anyways, yeah.
Oh, and
so
what
we fell in
happens?
love with Ben.
What happens to him? You'll find out. But like,
Very emotional.
you know, he seems like he was the. Oh my God, I don't.
The one that keeps them grounded.
Yes,
I felt like
he was the nice one, like the one who kept them grounded, or like who wanted to keep them together. And I think you noticed that in one of the scenes about him, and how when they were like kids in the group fight, you know, as the Umbrella Academy, how they started fighting each other and bickering when when he's gone, because we know that he sadly died. And you see his funeral scene, spoiler, in season 2, but so yeah, it was, and you could see how they would probably Ben dying probably started breaking up the siblings, and you start noticing that because noticing Ben's personality more in season 2, you could kind of tell he held the siblings, the group together, of how like sweet and like understanding he was, when all the personalities of the other siblings are very like, well, like
they
some of them are
each
kind of
other.
like,
So
okay,
rude.
they don't care, and some of them are really mean and rude, like number 5.
Let's talk about number 5. I want to talk about number 5 and how he was like the big honcho for this show, like pushing the plot forward.
He pushed the plot forward. Because also he had the coolest power too.
He has the coolest power,
in
time
a sense
travel.
Of like time traveling to me personally.
And his intellect is like beyond me, most of the characters. But the only one upsetting thing was that I felt like they made Luther and Diego a little dim-witted in a sense, as far as the dialogue went.
Yeah, because you were talking to me about how like they seem like they kind of changed their characters a little bit.
Just a tad bit as far as
maybe in the sense that you got more of their character. I was thinking like when you said that, I was like, oh yeah, their characters are a little different, but also maybe because they were growing the characters more in season 2 and expanding on them, that now you see these aspects of them that you didn't see in season 1 because they didn't have time to show it. I'm thinking. I'm just thinking that's it. But yeah, I can see that Luther and Diego especially was kind of like dim-witted.
They were, and I felt like, okay, so number 5 is like, the intellectual one, and they're kind of are, but not really, and then
Klaus is in another world.
Klaus is also like
Allison and Vanya are smart.
But
really
it's
smart.
number 5 who's like super entertaining to watch in this show, and I think it was great. I do want to talk about the time travel stuff. So I love time travel. If I could have a superpower, it would definitely be time travel or super strength, but definitely time travel. And
probably time travel.
Time travel too? Yeah. I mean, come on now.
Or invisibility. I don't know why.
Invisibility?
I'd
be too scared.
Or flying. God, there's too many.
Actually,
there's
you know what?
Many.
Yeah, that's 3.
Too many
flying
superpowers.
Is one of them. I know. If you could fly anywhere. Somebody was like, oh, yeah, you can fly anywhere, but if it's cold, you ask to help. But no. I mean, if you're flying, you probably won't feel the cold that much. Anyways, back to what I was talking about, time travel. So, in the show, the time traveling concept in the show is kind of, you got to really pay attention to follow through with it, because it does get a little confusing in a bit. Not that much. I was like, oh, okay, now I get it. But I was listening to a video by an old professor of mine at City College of New York. He's a physicist. Michio Kaku. I think that's how to pronounce his name. And he was talking about Einstein and his general theory of relativity, and that has to do with space-time continuum. This idea that in physics, they actually do believe that in the universe you can time travel, but it would have to be an output of a star, like the energy of a star, like the output of a star to enact an actual time paradox where you travel to the past. And what was interesting was that he was talking about how if in reality if you can travel to the past, you're actually traveling to a parallel past, right? So it's not your past, it's another past, with people who actually are there, kind of like a parallel universe, and you know, and it's someone who looks like you, who has kind of almost the same DNA, but it's not really you. So it's like a parallel universe. So that's the parallel past.
Okay.
So that's where I'm like thinking, because it's like they're trying to go back and forth and changing their future, right? And they can't do that because in season 1 it's apocalypse. In season 2, spoiler alert, it's also apocalypse. So they're like not being able to change that that event, that major event happening in the course of the time that they're living in. So I'm thinking that that's what's happening, like what is really happening in what physicists think, that when you go to the past, you're kind of like just changing everything from the past and you're creating a time paradox, whereas no matter what you do in the past and try to correct it, it's always going to change it. So at the end of season 2, you'll see that, because they end up trying to go back to the present, but they end up going to a different parallel present that is not theirs.
Oh, the plot twist.
Yeah.
The twist in the end.
So it's interesting because they're talking about how you can't really travel within the same time continuum that you're existing in.
Wow.
So I don't know.
It's interesting. I gotta watch
then
that
it kind of
video.
made sense to me, but then it's also still a little complicated.
Yeah.
So if whatever I said
That's just
doesn't
time
make
travel.
2 cents,
That is
you don't gotta
just
look it up. But it was just
time
interesting, and I was like, I want to share it because it kind of makes sense to me. So
Yeah.
doesn't you? I'm so sorry.
I gotta watch that video though.
No, yeah. So check it out.
So yeah, check it out. Check out season 2, Umbrella Academy. It was really good. You'll love these siblings and their bickering but love for each other and caring for each other. Also, I wanted to say some exciting news. I should have said this earlier, but I totally forgot. The exciting news is that we are going to be, I guess, BronxNet contacted us. Leo Mary, who's the content coordinator. Thank you. And BronxNet TV is a public, educational, and government access cable TV network that airs throughout the Bronx, the borough of Bronx, through Cablevision and Verizon Fios channels. That's what I was trying to say. And so they're gonna show. She came to us and she said, like, we saw your stuff through Latino Film Market, you know, Erlen, and so they were like, can we show your content on the Heritage, Hispanic Heritage Month, which is from September to October 15th, September 15th to October 15th. And so they're going to show our stuff on the BronxNet television TV in the Bronx, but also on the website. You can go to BronxNet TV, and we'll put the link down below, and you can see that as well. So, yeah, they're going to show our content. So that's pretty exciting.
We're so excited. And
so thank you to BronxNet TV.
Yeah, thank you, BronxNet. And then also, like, Latino Film Market is still going on until Friday. So if you want to purchase a ticket for one of their films for $5 or the festival pass for $10 and see a bunch of films, definitely do. Also link them down below. Do you have any other news?
No, that was exciting news.
That was exciting news. The next show we got coming up is Latin American Street Foods from Netflix, and then also Walter Mercado's documentary. So that's what we'll be reviewing. We're going to be trying.
All right. Thank you for watching.
Thank you
Subscribe,
for watching.
like, comment down below with anything you want to tell us to watch, or whatever you want to comment below. Thank you for watching. Peace.